Yesterday, I turned 60. We had a wonderful celebration on Zoom with family and friends, including my 3 beautiful adult daughters. But noticeably absent were the grandkids. We don't have any. I said to my husband later that evening, maybe we never will. And as I look around, I see we're not alone. In fact, the US birth rate is the lowest it's been in 32 years. In 1967, just 24% of 25 to 34-year-olds did not have children under their roof. Today, that figure has nearly tripled to 62%. Since 1980, male fertility rates around the world have dropped by more than half, and the decline isn't slowing. We all know that raising a kid to the age of 18 isn't cheap. Today, it costs on average $230,000, and it doesn't stop there. So if you're a millennial who can't afford to buy a home, how can you possibly afford another mouth to feed when that mouth will eat away at an asset base you simply don't have? And then there's our uncertain future. Now that climate change can no longer be dismissed as yet another left-wing conspiracy theory, but must be seen for what it is, a science-based reality, more and more young people are choosing to not bring a child into a world where the future of that world looks so bleak. So it's pointless arguing that the greatest hope for our planet may well reside in the genius and the different ways of seeing of kids who are yet to be born. And it begs the question our generation must ask. If we are not passing on our DNA directly through our own progeny, if we are to be no one's revered ancestors, then what is it we're really leaving behind? So here's my personal twist on the concept of legacy. If we are not going to make our mark vertically through the generations to come, why not make it horizontally through those whose lives we can affect right now? Especially this wonderful new crop of children, Gen Z, who are going to need all the help they can get in tackling the problems threatening their future and the world we will bequeath them. If a sense of calling is tugging at you, here are my 3 steps to answering it. So step number 1, find your sweet spot. 40 years ago, we were obsessed with finding our G-spot. Well, maybe your sweet spot is your spiritual equivalent, the intersection between what you most enjoy doing, what you're good at, and how you are solving a real problem for others. Step 2, choose your people. Who's your audience? Because that's where you can have the most impact. If you're not sure, look back over your life and stop where you come to that place where you were in the greatest pain. Maybe it was when as a teenager you looked in the mirror and felt disgusted by the person staring back at you, or when your partner cheated on you and you felt absolutely worthless. Or maybe it was when you experienced loss, as I did in the 2008 global financial crisis, a loss so huge it left me believing the world would be a better place without me. Whatever your ground zero point is, focus on that, because just as you suffered back then, there are countless people suffering right now, and through the empathy you feel for them, they will be the ones you can help the most. And finally, step 3, speak your truth. We all have a message waiting and wanting to be shared with the world. It's sitting buried in the pain of your past. To find it, go back to your unhealed childhood wound, and therein lies your darkest emotion, most typically guilt and shame. And wrapped around that dark emotion, you will find a story, usually buried so deep in your subconscious, you're probably not even aware of it. It's a story your shadow self created to protect you from this pain. I call this story your core destructive belief. Mine was, I'm a very, very naughty girl. Your core destructive belief, damning as it is, helped you make sense of your world when you were too young to process those dark emotions. I'm a naughty girl helped me understand why my mother would yell at me, chase me with a wooden spoon, and punish me by sending me to my room to sit for hours all alone. Unbeknownst to me, I'm a naughty girl continued to play out in my adult life and was the contributing factor to taking out that risky margin loan that would exponentialize our financial losses back in 2008. There's a wonderful saying, when you are in it, you can't see it. When you can see it, you are no longer in it. You don't just owe it to the world to find out what your core destructive belief is, you owe it to yourself. Because the moment you know what it is, it releases its hold on you. It no longer owns you, and nor do those darkest of dark emotions, guilt and shame. And free of that burden, you can stand in your light and speak with great passion and power, the passion born from your deepest pain. And so, the naughty girl inside me, who never really was that bad, speaks to you today as the disruptor she was born to be, and says, if you feel a spark inside of you that's itching to burst into flame and ignite the world, it's time to wake up to who you really are and the enormous contribution you have to make to the lives of others. You're not too old, you're not too ordinary, uninteresting or stupid, you're not too anything. Everyone has a special genius for something big or small. Like a rock thrown into a pond, you're not here to make tiny ripples, but big ones. You only have to change one life to make your own really count. That is the most precious part of you that you can leave behind. Thank you.